Hey there, everyone. This is Air.
And this is Lit.
Welcoming you back to 999.
9.
So last time, we started on a new route beyond the 3 standard ones.
Mm-hmm.
We got a new story. Most of the rest of it has been pretty standard, though.
But we did learn some interesting things about some characters. We found out that Seven was a cop.
Yep.
He was looking for missing kids. And there seems to be a consistent theme between this whole idea of telepathy and shared knowledge spanning distance and time and space.
No items. Okay, so let's check back down at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. So now we're back in the furnace room.
That's what I get for returning to a puzzle in the middle after a week.
It's so sad that Akane died.
She's done it before.
True. I apologize if anybody hears me munching, having ramen. Don't you wish you had some of this? It's the good stuff, too. Reminds me of one of those old retro cameras. I mean, it's obviously not what it is, but yeah.
Well, I want to go over to one of these.
Gold. It's probably plated. There's no way it could work. So now we know it's
in the back. Okay.
We also know that this whole thing is not done by just one person. It seems to be an organized group of people, which would make sense. I have a hard time believing Zero is just one of these guys, just toting around a giant gold gear, buying old replica ships, setting this all up on their spare time.
Sorry, what makes you think this is more than one person?
Well, remember when he was tracking down those people and he got knocked out?
They
had
like more
people.
Specific.
There were multiple people carrying people in body bags, and he said stop, and that's when he got knocked out.
Multiple people being carried in body bags.
In the flashback.
You only ever saw one person himself.
No. There were multiple people. They were carrying these white bags that looked like sacks with people inside, and there were people actually lifting them and carrying them off to a boat. That's why he came out, and then he got hit in the head from behind because he's like, put him up, and he got clocked from behind.
Oh, you're talking about 7.
Yeah, 7.
That's assuming that the people involved in that thing are involved here.
Possible. Be pretty impressive for one person to pull off all by themselves without any help. Especially considering it's the same place. So this single person had to have wrestled this ship from its previous owners. They were up to nefarious things. I'm not saying it's not impossible. I mean, hey, if Batman can do it.
Keep going one too far. Or maybe not.
Oh. Mm-hmm. I think.
Nope.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
You were very trigger happy on that.
Yay.
Yay, she's okay.
Yay.
Santa's sister.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have parents. We bought in an accident when we were still kids. So I had to be like her dad. And that meant I bought her Christmas presents every year. On Christmas Eve, I'd leave the present next to her pillow. And the next morning, she'd come running into my room with this big smile.
Aww.
Look! Santa left me a present! Santa got me that doll I really wanted. I'm so glad he got the letter I wrote.
I was the one who told her to write those letters. I'd say, write down something you want, mail it to Santa. The address I gave her was somewhere in Northern Europe that doesn't exist. Anyway, she'd write the letter, stamp it, and send it out. Then a few days later, it'd show up back in our mailbox, marked address unknown. I'd open the letters before she figured out they'd been sent back. Once I had the letter, I'd go around to a couple stores with some money I'd saved up over the year and buy her the stuff she'd asked for. It took a lot of saving. I managed to buy her presents every year.
Aww. Junpei was silent. He could think of nothing to say. June looked down, uncomfortable. The wall next to him suddenly groaned. Either he hadn't heard the sound or didn't care. Santa kept talking.
But one year, her letter was different. She didn't write a list of toys she wanted or anything like that. Instead, it said,
I don't want any presents this year. Instead, I want you to make my wish come true. My wish is that we'll be happy like this for a really, really long time.
I couldn't make that wish come true. Some Santa I am.
Santa looked sad. Junpei had never seen him look sad before. He wasn't sure he liked it. Junpei, if you were happy someone looked sad, I'd be worried about you. Junpei decided it was probably best not to ask Santa any more questions.
In Junpei's defense, Santa is kind of a brat.
But
What happened?
June glanced up at Santa quickly as she spoke. He answered, but only with an effort.
She died. She was killed 9 years ago.
Whoa. There was nothing Junpei could say. His heart felt like a great lump of lead. June bit her lip and looked away. Her face was pale.
All right, let's go.
Santa stood up suddenly, his downcast demeanor gone. He shoved his picture back into his pocket and headed back up the stairs, taking them two at a time. And we go through the door. And we have another one. Ah, yes, the robot one. With the, what, 7,000 or something? 3,000?
Pushmaster.
Pushmaster!
Junpei and June. Okay, so we've got 8, I think. Yep, 8. We're missing 1 somewhere. That somewhere's not here.
Looking for the 9th man, right?
No, I have him.
Okay.
Okay, what am I missing? Oh, that was right there.
Yay.
Lift.
Just then, Junpei heard a noise. He spun around just in time to see June collapse in front of the fence.
June, are you okay?
She gets worse this time? She did not respond. Junpei spun back around to face Ace.
Sorry, I gotta go check on her. You do the box thing, alright? Just put the cards in the boxes! I'm counting on you!
He shoved the cards into Ace's hand and ran off towards June.
Are you alright? What happened?
Junpei called out to her as he ran. As he arrived, June was climbing to her feet with Santa's help. I'm sorry. I'm fine. I just tripped.
Don't give me that! Now's not the time!
But it's true. I tripped over a box. Junpei put out his palm put his palm on her forehead. Her temperature was much the same as it had been the last time he checked. She wasn't hot like she'd been before, but she was still warm. Her fever wasn't completely gone.
I saw her fall. I think she really did just trip on something, you know?
Junpei would have been more than willing to agree if June hadn't needed quite so much help standing up.
Still, to fall down like that, I think she's probably still a little messed up.
June was doing her best to busy herself, brushing dust off her dress. Her smile looked a little embarrassed, and her face was a bit flushed. But she did look a great deal better than she had. Still.
Alright, well, let's get out of here as fast as we can, so we can get you to a hospital.
Oh! I don't think it's anything that serious. I just need a little medicine and some sleep, and I'll be fine.
Medicine, huh? Well, if we could get in touch with anyone outside, I'll bet Ace could swing that for you easy.
Ace? Oh, sorry.
Ace? Why? Huh? Don't you know? He's the president of a pharmaceutical company. Cradle Pharmaceuticals, the name, I think.
Oh!
Their flagship product is an anesthetic drug called Soparil. Soparil.
Junpei couldn't shake the feeling that he'd heard about Soparil before. Santa continued.
Soparil.
Soparil is an anesthetic that is gaseous at room temperature, similar to nitrous oxide. It only takes a few seconds to spread, and even a small amount is very effective. For these reasons.
Yeah,
sorry. For these reasons, it found widespread acceptance with police and military forces in numerous countries. With an effective crowd suppressant, a room clearer, and is practical, ethical, and humane. Developed 6 years prior, it was made from the extracts of several different roots. It became popular almost as soon as it was made public, with many governments placing large orders. Demand for Soparil skyrocketed, and as it did, so did the stock of Cradle Pharmaceuticals.
Why do you know all this?
Santa's information was interesting, but Junpei couldn't help but feel a little suspicious. Santa's reply was blunt and simple.
I heard from the old man himself. From Ace? When? By the number 4 door at the central stairway, when we were searching the second classroom. Remember how Snake, 7, and you went to door 5? I asked him what he did for a living, and he said he ran his own company. After that, we just started talking, and I guess it just came up, you know?
Are you worried about something?
No, nothing.
As he spoke, Junpei looked over toward Ace. He seemed to be having difficulty with the 9 boxes.
What the hell is he doing?
Turn back to June and Santa.
June, don't push yourself, alright?
Yes.
Santa, could you take care of her? Sure.
He gave them both a short nod, then turned and headed toward Ace.
What are you doing?
Ace's back was to him as Junpei approached. The older man turned around to look at him, and his face was pale and covered in sweat.
What happened? Nothing. My vision has gotten rather blurry, and I think it's perhaps because of fatigue. I can't see very well at the moment. Why can't you see well? These pictures.
Ace held the cards out to Junpei, splayed out in the shape of a fan.
I don't care to admit it. I may be developing presbyopia. Growing old is a difficult thing.
Ooh, we learned about that earlier.
This is the first time that's been mentioned.
Oh, wasn't it that thing where someone begins to see faces all the same?
Prosopagnosia?
Yeah. He made the best attempt he could at self-deprecating smile, but his face was flushed and his lips were pale and drawn.
At any rate, I'll leave the rest to you. I'm feeling awfully tired, so if you don't mind, I'd like to rest for a bit.
He shoved the cards into Junpei's hands and walked away. Junpei looked at him quizzically. How could simply looking at cards have tired him out? Junpei looked down at the cards in his hands. All the pictures were quite clear, and each person easily recognizable. Was Ace's vision truly so bad? But if it wasn't, what had made him so uncomfortable? That was when Junpei remembered what he'd heard from Lotus much earlier. Yeah, see? I remember. Prosopagnosia.
Prosopagnosia.
Prosopagnosia. Gosh, that's a mouthful. Well, put simply, it means a condition where the mind can't distinguish between human faces. See? I told you I remembered it. In other words, my face would look the same as Clover's, or even yours. So they can't remember faces, which is how most people recognize each other. And that means that people with Prosopagnosia have trouble recognizing even people they're close to.
Maybe he's got prosopagnosia?
Junpei took another look at Ace. He sat at the base of the stairs looking quite depressed. It was reasonable, of course, that he'd feel that way. If he really did have prosopagnosia, there was no doubt it was a depressing and painful experience. Still, Junpei didn't feel like patting him on the shoulder and telling him everything would be alright would help that much. Still, Junpei felt perhaps it was best he kept Ace's condition to himself, at least for the time being.
Oh well.
Doing his best to clear his mind for the task at hand, he turned back toward the boxes. It was time to solve the puzzle of the 9 boxes. So hard!
Okay. Let's get our digital route on.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now for the hard part. Oh, no, sorry. This and then the hard part.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta remember that it's a little more complicated. Whoops. Not right. F is 15. You just need to go 4 and 2. This needs to be 6. That needs to be 8. Pushmaster 5000. Okay, and this is the hard part. Why did I mess that up? doubly messed that up. Oh, this me. We don't have enough moves. Not quite. Oh, hey, they gave me another move. That was nice of them. No, that's not it. No. Oh, what am I doing? So it's much easier the first time I did it.
I think you need to go around, I think. Yeah.
Oops.
No. One.
Oh, it takes you out. Yeah, one more move. I had to cheat that time, but got it done.
The little robot hook that could.
Just a golden gun and BE.
We'll just leave it there. Or no. Because love is dead. Ta-da! And then the revelation that there's another door!
The only route in which we found 2 doors.
Oh, I thought we were going to check out the coffin. That would have been good.
Clover's gone.
Clover's missing. Alright. Junpei and June ran into the large hospital room together. As quickly as they could, they searched around under the beds and in corners.
She's not here.
No, she isn't.
Alright. Just in case, we should go take a look in the shower room.
The shower room?
That's where her brother is. She might have gone to see him.
June bit her lip. She knew, as Junpei did, that there was only one thing to see in the shower room, and it wasn't pleasant.
Well, we might as well check, right? Let's go.
There was a screwdriver stuck between the door and the frame. Junpei and June slipped through the door, moved down the hallway, and stepped into the shower room.
No luck.
Yeah, I don't think she's here. June's voice was faint, and she placed her hands over her mouth. Her face looked a little green. The stench in the room was almost unbearable. And it had grown far more unpleasant since their last visit. If Junpei had eaten lunch, he would have had difficulty retaining it. He wanted to leave the room as soon as possible, but he had to be sure. And the only way to be sure was to check the other side of the divider.
Wait here.
June offered no resistance and nodded weakly to Junpei as he headed around the divider. He stopped at the corner and turned his head. As he expected, Clover was nowhere to be seen. The only thing on the other side of the divider was a dead body lying in a reddish-brown puddle of dry and drying blood. There were many ways a man can die, but this? The skull was shattered and the head little more than pulpy mass of brain, bone, and viscera. The left arm was hideously twisted into a horrific alien shape, the bright white of the ulna shining through the remnants of skin and muscle.
Huh? Wait.
Bright white. Ulna. Bones. The pieces fell into place. Junpei remembered something Clover had told him in the laboratory.
My brother's left arm is, it's not like a normal person's arm. The accident hurt him really bad. To save him, they had to cut off his arm.
Of course. Of course! Why hadn't he realized it earlier? Clover had told Junpei that Snake's arm was a prosthetic. But the left arm of the corpse behind the divider was quite purely a real human arm, or at least it had been once. That meant the corpse. Junpei and June headed back toward the large hospital room. They stepped through the door and out of the shower room. Down the hallway they went, searching for Clover in every corner. They had reached the stairs when Seven appeared breathless and yelling.
It's hard to be both at the same time.
Junpei! June! Where were you guys?
He looked pale and his face was drawn. Something terrible had happened. Junpei's breath caught in his throat.
Did something happen?
Seven drew a shaking hand across his face and gulped down a breath of air.
Clover's dead. Found her in the first-class bathroom.
The feet. All sounds ceased for Junpei. The world was an empty, muffled expanse. Then he began to hear his own breathing. Whoa! June's mouth moved, but he heard nothing. She tried once more, and then her energy was gone and she collapsed against the wall. He could have helped her, but he hadn't. And now she was dead. He stood there, frozen in place. Clover. Clover. Why had this happened? He forced his body to move. Each step felt like another nail pounded into his heart. Finally, he was in front of her. He knelt and placed 3 fingers against Clover's neck. No pulse. No breath. But she was still warm and her eyes were closed peacefully. It would have been easy to think she was asleep. Easy, that is, were it not for the slowly expanding puddle of blood underneath her. He traced its source to her back. A gash just beneath her shoulder blade. Was the weapon a knife, perhaps? If it was a knife, the killer had taken it when they left. Then he closed his eyes. He saw Clover's smile. Her innocent smile. Her energy. He would never see her smile again. He could have done something. He could have helped her. His stomach twisted itself into a sickening knot. Junpei lifted a limp June from the floor and carried her from the bathroom.
Are you alright?
It was a foolish question, and he knew it.
Yes, I think so.
Her voice was weak.